Damn. Even in death, my damn sign doesn't make it. Jesus. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is the Trey McLean Show. It's a very special show as we celebrate the life of a long lost friend of mine. And of course, I brought on his wife with talk about him. His name was Eugene Miller. And Teresa, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Trey. It's great to see you.
It's been a minute. It's been 5 years.
Been
So I know we've chatted back and forth since I made the move up here, and it's I mean, obviously, it's very I always go back to saying that the day he died always affected me because it was my birthday. So so every time that day would ever pop up, I would always more talk about him than celebrate me because how can you not? But at the same time, like I've had my daughters even reach out to me and go, "Well, we don't know to say happy birthday to you or not because you said you don't like that day." I'm
Aw.
like, "Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm still going to get older as long as I'm still here." But at the same time, yeah, the day's always going to remind me of Eugene because Eugene was so special to me and my family. So, um, just real,
It's good enough.
just set the stage real quick. It was 5 years ago. I was heading into work, and I normally don't work on my birthday, but this was it fell on the middle of the week kind of day, so I just had to do it. And I'm sorry I keep moving around so much. My dogs are going crazy, trying to back the big dog off. But anyway, I was heading to work and I got a phone call. Looked at my phone and said Eugene Miller. I'm like, okay, cool. And I answered the phone like I always did with him. And I do the whole Mean Gene thing because
Yeah,
the wrestling
yeah.
part of me. That's who I am. And that's how I was at least. And so I talked to him. I'm like, Mean Gene, what's up, man? And it wasn't Eugene. It was his daughter
Me.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
And she says, Trey, just this is Stephanie, Eugene's daughter. And once she said that, I knew something was up because why would she call me? But so she says, listen, Dad's been in the hospital. He suffered a heart attack, or I think it was a heart attack.
It was a hard day.
And we we're going to be pulling the life support on him. This is your chance to say your goodbyes to him. You were in the room too. I remember because I heard your
Mhm.
voice
I was in the
early
room.
on.
Yeah.
And so on the spot, I'm there going, uh, wow, of all days.
Oh,
But of all days, granted, we all don't know when we're gonna go. So obviously, it could have been any day, and I still said the same thing. But but it's because it was on April 20th of 2021. It was definitely an earth-shattering day. I remember I got to work after saying my goodbyes to Eugene as best I could. Yeah, I still don't think I said all I wanted to say. But I remember getting to work and I told my boss, I'm like, guys, keep me away from everybody. I cannot be around people right now. So they graciously put me outside and I got a chance to just sit at a post and made the calls I had to make too. I called Bo, our buddy Bo. I called a few other
yes. I
people
remember. Yeah.
to let them know what's going on. Anyway, so I was sitting in a post, for about I think I was working three on, 4 off. So I was working like 13-hour days or 14-hour days, and but 4 days off. Why not, right? So I remember I just spent all day just thinking of all the memories and talking to Bo, and we were reflecting everything else, and then we go to the funeral, and I remember I talked to you, and I said, "Do you mind if I get up and say something?" And you're like, "Oh, you family, you go ahead and you do what you got to go do."
Absolutely.
And I remember going up there and I told the story. I'm going to tell it here just because I know you heard it. But I remember a bunch of years ago, it was Mother's Day. I called Eugene up. I was like, "Hey Eugene, hey Trey, how's it going?" I was like, "Hey, taking my mom out to Kirby Steakhouse for over in Plano for Mother's Day. You want to know? Oh yeah, I love your mom. No problem." It's before he met you, obviously. And
Yeah.
so we head out to Kirby Steakhouse. Waiter comes to the table, looks over at us, says, "And how are you enjoying your fine Mother's Day?" My mom looks at him and goes, "I'm here with my two boys." Of course,
Hmm.
looks over at me and looks over at him, looks back over at me, and I'm like, "She liked him more than me." I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, we always had that kind of relationship. I remember we brought him into the family. At least I did. I met him through Blockbuster Video. Now,
Yes, I remember
I,
this.
I
Yes.
thought
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah.
I worked hard. This mother effer worked three jobs. Okay, he worked
He did.
He worked Freddie Mac, he worked Williams
Yep.
Sonoma, and he worked Blockbuster
And
Video.
Blockbuster. Yeah.
And every Tuesday and
Long time.
Sunday, on occasion, he would come into work because it was he was dealing with major migraines and major headaches and constantly just that always kind of saddled him quite a bit. And we always tried to figure out what was going on with him. And I thought the thing that was going to get him to be those. Didn't realize a heart attack was going to lead to it, but
Tell me about
um,
it.
yeah. But I remember we met each other through Blockbuster Video. We started talking about movies and stand up comedy, and then he wanted to go play pool, and we found a place in Carrollton that had a pool place, and we would go, and that became our Wednesday traditions, as it were. And I mean, our friendship just grew over time. I have a picture somewhere. I don't have it here on this, but a picture of him holding my daughter Dakota when she was born. So he's always been Uncle Eugene. You know,
Yep.
I showed the picture of Eugene to my daughter Dakota. I sent that to her, and she's like, "Oh, that's so sweet. I hope she's doing okay." I'm like, "I'm sure she is." But at the same time, yeah, we're gonna talk about Eugene. It's like, oh, I miss him. He was so awesome because Eugene had that personality that always lit up a room for all of us. I always called him he was our Shrek, okay? Because A, he looked like him, but B, he loved that movie more than anything else. So for him to sit there, and I remember like every time a movie would come out, like it's like you see anything good lately? It's like, man, nothing's gonna be Shrek. I don't care what they say. Well, yeah, it's true. It was a good movie, but no, he was such a close friend to our family, and by proxy, we got to meet you through that. Um, we got to be a part of your wedding, which was nice.
No,
Um,
damn, that was a damn good day.
it
Wow, that
was.
was a damn good day. It was.
But the thing about him is that you changed him in so many positive ways. Because I remember knowing the loner version of Eugene. Just go to work, go home, deal with headaches, go to basketball games, whatever. These were things that he would always do. You got him involved in church. You got him involved in things that I had never known him to really be a part of because again, when he's by himself, he was stuck in his own ideology. To whereas
Yes.
you kind of opened doors to him that really expounded his personality and his mind and his soul for that matter. And y'all got him involved in a lot of with a lot of good people. I remember we saw a lot of them at the funeral,
Yeah.
and I mean, and I see it on his Facebook post whenever whenever his birthday or April 20th comes around. People from that group are always chiming in on his Facebook saying how much we miss him and everything else. How did y'all meet exactly?
Oddly enough, and this was back in the day when this wasn't popular. He and I actually met online. And this will tell you how long ago it was because there were no apps back then. You just went onto the actual website. You would send email to that person, and the person would send emails back to you, and this and that. And it's funny that you mentioned how much he was a workaholic because when we first met, I was like, dang, this guy works all the time. And he never had time to get together and go places and do things. And so I was like, I was talking to my friend, Tracy, my best friend to this day. And I was like, I've been going out on a few dates with this guy named Eugene, and I just don't think I'm going to go out with him anymore. And she was like, really? I said, yes, because he's always working. He never does anything fun. And I just don't think I'm going to talk to him anymore. And I always told him this. I was like, she saved you because she told me, and I never forget it. She told me, just give him one more date. I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to see him anymore because he works all the time. He doesn't have time to, a relationship or anything. So, I'll pass. She was like, no, Teresa, give him one more time. And I said, okay, fine. So I went out on one more date with him. And that one more date kind of he seemed to blossom a little more. I saw more of his personality. I saw more of who he was as a man and who he was as a father to his kids. And I was like, okay, he might be all right. And it just grew from there. So yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember. Do you know how many bad basketball games we would go to watch when the Mavericks weren't good? But
Oh
but we
yes, yes, yes.
but we
Yeah.
go we would get the cheap seats and everything. I remember one time, I had just bought a football that was autographed by Danny White. I'm a big Danny White fan. Saw it at the mall and everywhere else. So me and Eugene are going to a Maverick game, and I meet George Dunham from the ticket up there, who's also a big Danny White fan. He talks about him and his broadcast partner were big Danny White fans and everything else. And I said, hey, I went to the Mad Hatters over in Carrollton over there, Trinity Mills and Josie, and bought a football that Danny White's the name on it, and they mentioned your name. So, oh, you won? You still got that? How much you want for it? I'm like, and Eugene's like, Trey, make some money. God, and I'm like, I'm not giving away. I'm not Danny White. I ain't giving that away. People were like, who's Danny White? Think Tony Romo before that. Tony Romo of the '80s. But yeah, it was. I mean, we go to do basketball games, stuff like that, and just like I mean, I remember he would always say, "God, I just wish Dallas would get a women's team down here because they play like pure basketball. Look at them now; they got
Yes.
the Dallas Wings." So I
Yes,
mean,
they do.
he would actually make the trek down to Houston to go catch their team, and
Mhm.
I would never go because who wants to go to Houston? But he did,
We went to
and
Houston a couple of times actually for our
yeah.
first wedding anniversary. We went down to Houston because they have a big Ren fair. And
Mhm.
so we went down there to their Ren fair and it was great. It was awesome. Man, I think that was either our first or our second year wedding anniversary. We went down there. It was great.
So okay, my timeline's a little mixed up here, and you have to bear with me because we've had so much has gone on in the last so many years.
Oh yeah.
So y'all got married what year?
We got married in 2015.
20. Okay, okay, because I was thinking it was like around 2018 or something like that. Just I don't know
Yeah.
my timing. I I don't have the picture on me, but I had a picture of me, Bo, and Eugene together, and I made us all puppets or Muppets or whatever. I sent that I sent that to Bo, and Bo's like perfect. I'm like yeah. Then just because it was funny because they always say in life you have probably three really good friends, right?
Yes.
Three people
Real
that
friends, not the
real
phony.
friends.
I just see you every once in a while. Like real friends. You're right. About three, if you're
Yeah,
lucky. A good solid
I
three.
mean, you got your family, you got acquaintances, you got coworkers, you got all these people who are coming in your life, but you have the three that you always rely on. And he was one of them for me. Bo was another one, and my friend Missy's another one. And it was kind of my Seinfeld clique. I had my two guys and a girl kind of thing to where I had people things to bounce off of, right? And Eugene I mean, like, I remember when I was a truck driver, I would contact him on the road because I call my wife, and and she, you can always tell that she was frustrated that her life is so tough because she had to stay at home and be a mom, and God forbid should that be an issue. But then like I would call Eugene and say, hey Eugene, say, hey Trey, how you doing? And sometimes I'm sitting and miss because sometimes, hey man, I can't talk right now. I got a headache. I'm like, oh, I'll talk to you later, no problem. I always knew to shut up and just let him do his thing. But we get in the conversations, and they're mostly the same. I mean, we talk about
Mm-hmm.
where I've been, where I'm going, and we talk about our travels. He did his own little certain travels at one time or another. He came from the Northeast, so clearly he would make the joke like, "Man, I came down here to heat up, and man, when it gets cold down here, then it's the hell with this. I did not sign up for this."
Oh yes, yes.
So yeah,
It's
it was.
and it's weird because we visited Connecticut, right? He and I after we got married. I think we went to Connecticut maybe 2 years after we got married for Eugene Jr. Gino's graduation. And so he showed me around like connect, and it's so vastly different than Texas. That's for sure. Everything is just real grouped together. And I was like, I know you said you moved because it got cold, but everything is so close together that did you move just so you can see new things? Because Connecticut's like, even though it's Connecticut, the closest thing to them that's major is New York City, obviously.
Right.
And I teased them about it because I'm like, there's nothing really here. But he was like, no, it was definitely the weather. It was definitely the cold, cold weather. And But then I get to Texas, and Texas has, but I was like, it's nothing like Connecticut. But yeah, that weather up there was very different than what we have down here.
Very true. I mean, and I think a lot because you always feel like if a northeastern blows through, and he gets
Mhm.
really shivering and cold. Well, that's because it's up there. So obviously he takes that and says, "Yeah, we didn't sign up for that down here. No, I'm sorry. You can go away. I'll go down to Houston. I'll go down to Mexico just to warm up. I don't care." But
Yeah, and his daughter Stephanie, she moved back to Connecticut after
oh,
they
really?
got. Yeah, she did. They got married. They got married the same year we got married. We got married in October. They got married in August. And he was absolutely shocked that she wanted to move back to Connecticut. And she was like, but because she had been away since college, since she
Right.
left high school to go to college. And he was like, yeah, you think you want to move back, but it's not quite. You never had to shovel snow and go to work at the same time, type of thing. And ultimately they ended up moving to Minnesota,
Okay.
which is pretty much the same
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
Pretty much the same thing.
didn't they live in Providence Hills for a little bit?
Yeah, they did. They live not far from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
Mhm.
it was kind of. I remember when he said, "Yeah, yeah." I think Stephanie's he's like in your area. I'm like, really? I didn't because
Mhm.
that's how I was moving out, so I had no idea. But I remember just the weird thing about Eugene is this, and when I moved out here to Ardmore, Oklahoma, I was going through some marital issues and a lot of things that were going on that just wasn't setting the marriage the way it needed to be. And I had done some bad things, and she has done some bad things. So clearly, we needed to separate. And I remember when Eugene passed away. Last time I saw Eugene,
Mhm.
or at least got to hang out with him, I think it was a Friday night, and I told my wife I was going to go to work that night, and I had met someone at a wrestling show, and known this person for a while, and she was having her own issues with her marriage, and we unfortunately did what we did, and
Mhm.
it's a regret I've always had, and it is what it is. But I remember I couldn't go home because you know that would make no sense, right? So I had to stay
Mhm.
out. So I called Eugene up and I said, "Hey, what you doing tonight?" He's like, "Man, I just got home and Teresa's not feeling real good, and I don't know what I mean. What you want to do? Let's go play pool. Let's go do what we used to do." So we went to main event, go play pool,
Okay.
and just hung out for whatever. We spent probably 2 hours in the car in front of y'all's house just talking, not knowing this is going to be the last time we're ever going to talk to each other. But I mean, it was kind of it was what we always did, right? I mean, we always sat and
Yeah.
talked, whether it was stand up comedy or if it was what's on TV or what do we like, or we don't. If we get into politics, we kind of agree. We were kind of on the same,
Uh-huh.
ideology about politics as far as they're all crooks. I mean, it was kind of. By the way, I cannot even imagine how Eugene
Now,
can handle.
wow,
Yeah,
he would have
cannot
a
imagine.
field day. Yes, he would have a field day. Well, let me see. The last presidential election for him would have been
Trump.
Trump Clinton.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, was Trump Clinton.
yeah,
And needless to say, he had nothing positive to say
right.
about Donald Trump. But now he would have a field day with the political atmosphere
Oh,
that we have now.
I'd always equate to Rob Williams, right? If Rob Williams was alive, can you imagine how much he would go batshit crazy over what's going on currently? I mean,
Yeah.
the things we miss out on because of people's passing, right?
Uh,
And anyway, I remember that was the last time I got to see him. And then, of course, when at the time when I moved up here, and my wife did not know I had done what I did, and my daughters found out because my
so,
all my iCloud stuff was on my son's iPad. So all the text messages and all the stuff that was on there, they got a chance to read that, and that kind of caught me red-handed and everything else. And
mm,
so she came up here to talk about it, and then it dawned on me, and I was telling her, like, "That's the last time I saw Eugene," and
wow.
like we both broke down because Eugene was so special to both of us, and it was like I hate that happened on for me. I hate that happened under those circumstances. But
Absolutely.
if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have had that. As sad as that is,
Yeah,
but it's just one of those things where, you know, I've learned from that entire thing. I learned not to take anything for granted. Because
absolutely. Because no day is promised to you.
no,
No day. Because he was here one day and gone the next. It was literally like that. Here one
yeah,
day, gone the next. So since his passing, that has been the one thing, one of many things. But one of the things that's been the most impactful, and that is because people say all the time, tomorrow's not promised. Don't take today for granted. But it's when you have these types of events in your life that you really feel and experience, saying, don't take it for granted. Do
right,
not take one day for granted. And don't put things off under the assumption that you're going to get an opportunity to do it again or do it tomorrow or whatever. Don't. And I have lived my life that way since he left. I take nothing for granted. If there's something I want to do, I'm not putting it off because you're not promised that you're going to get another opportunity to do it.
yeah. It's kind of. I mean, I'm in that situation right now to where after Cooper graduates high school, I plan to just hit the road and just go see the places I've missed out on. Just
Yeah.
to van life it and live like a nomad for a little bit, just so I can get to knock out stuff off my bucket list. But to just a thought though. I mean, and getting to know Eugene before he met you, he was not a very religious individual at all. He was.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, it was hit or miss for him, really. Kind of how it is with me in some cases. But you kind of you turn that page for him a little bit. How did you go about doing that?
I don't really think I turned the page. I think that there was an opportunity for him to see something different. And in doing so, it gave him an eye opening experience to faith. And I'm thankful to God, literally, that he had that opportunity. And I could definitely see the shift as time went on. And, wow, what's from the heart touches the heart. And I truly do believe that. And I think that he could see kindness in me, in the people that I surrounded myself with. And we never made any bones about that kindness was God's spirit in us. And I think that's what gave him an opportunity to see it differently. And church people can be very mean people. So it wasn't like a church experience. It was more a
Fellowship,
emotional experience. It's a
like a fellowship.
relationship. Absolutely, 100%. And you have a lot of people that are in church every Sunday, every Wednesday when the church doors open up. But if you see how they live outside of church, you'd be like, that's a totally different. What ministry are you a part of? What Bible did you read? So it's very different. So I think what helped him see that the glory of God and the kindness and the love was how we lived our lives day to day. And it gave him an opportunity, just a little bit, because that's all it takes, was just a little bit of an opportunity, and it opened his eyes up to other things. And I thank God that that did happen for him, because I do think it made him a kinder person. I do. I think it made him more kind, more willing to see kindness in others,
Yeah,
because none of us are perfect. And that's what we want as we just get older as people, is you want to evolve and to become a better person. And I think he did that. And I think that's what enabled him to see, you know not church, not Bible thumpers, not any of that, but just kindness in each other. And it opened up a relationship for him, and I'm very, very thankful for that. Very thankful.
yeah. It's just funny because I'm not a very religious person at all. I mean, I'm spiritual in the sense that I believe you know yeah Jesus died for our sins, but I mean I don't take it very much further than that. I pretty much keep to myself when it comes to that. Um, I have a coworker. We call him Coach. He's a 75-year-old African American gentleman, great guy. I'm helping his grandson get to and from work right now because he's in Oklahoma City doing something with his wife, and he says, "Trey, you got to go to church with me one day." I'm like, all right. So I go to this all black church here in Ardmore, which, by the way, love it, love it. I mean,
Good. Oh, that's good.
I mean, the thing is that coming from the world of professional wrestling, if anybody wants to learn
Mhm.
how to cut a promo, go to an all black church and let them show you how to cut a promo. Because Jesus, I mean, they made me believe. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and my experience with all black churches is the Blues Brothers.
The
Sorry,
Blues Brothers,
it's the
the
Blues
movie.
Brothers. Okay, yeah.
It's
I
fitting
mean,
that you would have that. You always refer back to them still.
I know,
So
right?
many references to the Blues Brothers. Okay. Cool
So,
tattoo, by the way.
oh, thank you. So I'm sitting there in church, and there's these three girls singing. They're saying the same three words again and again and again. As a song. And I look over at Coach. I'm like, Coach, when does James Brown start singing? And he's like, will you stop? And his,
Yeah.
his wife plays the piano there at the church, and she's like, man, I couldn't get him off his phone. He's too busy trying to look up, all this stuff about James Brown. I'm like, well, that's what I know him from. I'm sorry. So, but it was such a great experience, and I would definitely go back again. If only football didn't take place on a Sunday.
Oh,
But
the what?
only if football didn't take place on a Sunday.
He and I used to watch football like, man, every Sunday he got that NFL ticket. Oh my God, that thing would
Did
drive
he?
me
Did he get that?
bonkers. Yes, he got
Oh my
that.
god!
And the reason it drove me bonkers is because you got 4 games on at one time. And it was too overstimulating for me. It was just way too much. And so we would watch that as much as I could tolerate seeing 4 games on screen at one time. Um, and that was, sports, football, basketball. The only sport that he really wasn't that much into was maybe golf. Yeah, he
Well,
wasn't really a
baseball.
big
Well, baseball he wasn't into because, but I remember we'd always made it. I always made the hint that we need to go. We need to go watch a Ranger game because
fan.
going to a Ranger game and watching on TV is two different experiences. Kind of like golf.
Totally
Going
different.
going to the event and actually seeing watching on TV. Now, Grant, I've gotten to the point. Walmart has killed live events for me completely because
Really?
Walmart. You go to Walmart and go buy a big 70-inch TV screen for
Hmm.
$500. You ain't going nowhere. Okay, I mean, I got WrestleMania in Las Vegas happening today and tomorrow. My big ass sitting on the couch for the next 2 days watching on my 65-inch TV screen, knowing I have to deal with 100,000 idiots out there. I mean, hell, they came to
Makes a
they
difference.
came to they came to DFW twice in the last 10 years, and
Mm.
I was already working in wrestling at the time, but I was like, nah, I've dealt with the live crowds from just a local level. I don't want to go to
Hmm.
the global level that is WWE and have to deal with those people because that's a whole different experience.
Lot. It's a lot.
And I mean, and like you think Eugene gets headaches, I get headaches every day just from the way because having to hear the casino noises and they're rattling my head from where I work at.
I
So
bet that is a lot.
yeah,
That is a
so
lot. But it's funny that you say live sports. It's different because he and I went to a Atlanta Hawks game. Actually, this was before they got the new stadium. So this was
mhm.
like the season before they got the new stadium. And you talk about a blast. We had a great time. Great time. And we weren't even fans. You know what I'm saying? We went because we were going to Atlanta for, I think it was for his birthday, maybe. I don't remember why we were going, but we were there for the whole weekend and did lots of things. And while we were there, we were able to get these tickets. And seeing a game live is totally different than watching it on TV. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like day and night. It's a lot of fun live. A lot of fun.
and I've always heard going to hockey games would do that for me, but like I'm not a hockey fan per se because I didn't grow up with the sport. I know
Yeah.
they came to Dallas in 1993, and at that point, I'd already been football, baseball, basketball out. So, and basketball was kind of like a third tier sport to me because the Mavericks weren't that great back then. So,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that. Hey, when you have a team that sucks, cheap tickets. But which me and Eugene came to realize that long before that. Because I remember there'll be times I'm going to say, "What do we do today?" I don't know. Mavericks playing today? I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." Who are they playing? Does it matter? I mean,
You should go to you should go to a D League game. Have you ever been?
I've heard those are decent. The thing
They're
is,
so they're a ball. It's great. He and I went to a D League game. Um, we I don't remember how long ago, but he and I went to a D League game. It for me, for one thing, I'd never been to a professional basketball game. So, and the seats you get for the D League games is outstanding. It's not like an AAC with them little bitty seats. I mean, it's like really, really good. And the court looked so tiny in person in comparison to what you see on TV.
right?
But yeah, the NBA that's great or whatever. But if you really want to have a lot of fun and it's very kid friendly, go to a D League game.
You
They
know,
are great.
people say about the Frisco Rough Riders. If you're going to go see minor league
Mhm.
baseball and you get more bang for your buck, you might do
Yep.
that with the Frisco Rough Riders. My
Hmm.
problem is I've been to the new Ranger Stadium out there, and let me tell you something. They did it right. I would rather go see a baseball game in Arlington than go see a Cowboy game in Arlington, only
Okay.
because I've been to a Cowboy game in Arlington, and for the kind of prices that they charge out there, again, 65-inch TV screen in my house. I can make my own hot dogs. I can go buy whatever I want to buy to drink, and it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg to do it, and not have to park my car for $75 to go do it either.
Tell me about it, right? It's
And
ridiculous.
if anything, and I know that the Mavericks and the Stars are. I know we're talking about Eugene. We're talking about sports here, but he would like it this way. But
He would love it.
all right, but no, with the Mavericks thinking about moving to a different stadium down the road, and the Stars moving to I think Frisco, I'm here soon.
Hmm.
They have the perfect situation. Dart rail. Dart rail drops you right off in front of the AAC, and you don't have to park your car. You just pay your fees to get on the tram and just head that way and head on back and park in Carrollton and go home from there. And it was in like in Arlington doesn't have it figured out yet. They don't have enough
No, they
transit
haven't. Not at
out
all.
there.
Their transportation is absolutely awful. But if you really want to see, like, he and I, on our honeymoon, actually took a tour of the stadium, the stadium there in Arlington. Since that time, I've been to one Cowboys game because my nephew is a big Jets fan, and
Uh-huh.
they were playing the Jets, and so came down here, went to a Jets game with the Cowboys. It was more entertaining to me, in my opinion, for the tour than it was for the game
Yeah.
because the tour gives you so much more insight into the actual stadium as a building. And we had a blast when he and I went to see the Cowboy Stadium. Um, that's better, in my opinion, than going to one of the games.
It's funny because I have two half sisters, right, from both of my
Mhm.
dad's side. They never met each other at this time because that's how dad wanted things, and I just had to shut up and not say a word until he died. So that's just how things are. So it was Texas OU weekend, 2000. No, I was at Windsor at the time, so it was around 2016 or 17 or something like
Okay.
that. And Tom Brady was coming back from being suspended, and the Cowboys are going to play New England for that game. So my sister from Washington D.C., who's a big diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, she bought his tickets.
Hmm.
50-yard line seats,
Oh,
fourth
nice.
level. She paid way too much money. I'm sure there's a figure that I heard that just I looked at her and go, "We're not worth that." But so
Yes.
I go to this thing, and the Cowboys already suck at this point. So I already know what to expect from the team that we're pulling for. My other sister, she's a big OU fan. She can care less about pro football, and she definitely don't like the Cowboys. She's from Houston, so it is what it is. So we're sitting there, and everybody's so glued to the big screen TV that's right there in the 50, right there, right? You could watch TV right there, watching the game. I didn't pay money to sit here and watch TV. I wanted to watch the game right in front, on the field. I have this
Yeah.
big monstrosity of a screen looking at me, and everybody saying, "Take a look at the stadium scoreboard and make sure." I'm like, I don't care. I can see the game on the, like I used to go to Cowboy games at Texas Stadium. Even Eugene and Bo took two of my tickets from preseason. I think one time and
Yeah.
went to go
I
catch a
remember him
game.
telling me that. Uh-huh.
And I remember they saw a football. I mean, it was preseason, but they saw football. They got because there was nothing to distract their view from what they were doing. That damn Cowboy Stadium, which I'm sorry, but they've had. I mean, it's the worst stadium to have an event. It's the worst stadium to have any type of concert, any type of football thing
That's
because
true.
all the noise. I mean, there's a thing about physics. Noise hits the screen and dissipates really quick. And I went to go see Lady Gaga at Ranger Stadium 2 years ago with my
Uh-huh.
wife, and it was great, wide open. Now, her show was supposed to start at 7. She didn't stay till 9, and there was no opening act, so she played it fast on everybody else. But I mean, it's
Hmm.
still though. I mean, it was a great show, and I mean, it was a wide open. You can hear the music great. Like there's something. Sometimes too big is too big, right? And I can just
Yes.
picture, I can just picture Eugene sitting there, going back to him because the show's all about him. And you would never know that from hearing our conversation. But I can just see him looking at that screen, looking down, shaking his head. Why? Why?
Yeah, yeah. But
Why do they
he
need that?
really, shockingly, he really liked the stadium, right? But we didn't go to a game at the stadium, not at the Cowboy Stadium at least. Um, so I don't know. I think seeing a game there might would have changed his opinion of the stadium because just to look at it is pretty cool. Everything goes on behind the scenes. It's pretty cool. But being in the stadium during a game, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, no. Again, I told my sister, I said, I'll come here when WrestleMania comes here. Well, they were coming out that year that we are going to go to the Cowboy game. I'm going, well, this takes away the WrestleMania for me because now I'm here. I'm doing my one event I said I'd do here. So this was it, and the Cowboys got stomped. I mean, it was like Tom Brady 35, Cowboys 0, or whatever. It was an awful game. But
Ouch.
it came right off of Deflategate, I think. So it was kind of like he just started suspension and everything else because the NFL had to crack down on their favorite quarterback. So it is what it is. But and just going back to Eugene though, I always have this picture because like a lot of times when I would go to like any type of live event, I would always picture me sitting there at a Maverick game with him and him just sitting there
Aw.
going, Steve sucks. Steve
Well,
sucks.
he loved events. Now I don't know if you guys ever did this, but he liked Cirque du Soleil as well. Because
No, yeah.
he was very artsy, though he was this big guy.
I
He was
never got
artsy.
that from him. I never got that
Yes.
from him.
Yes. He we went to Cirque du Soleil. We went to 9 or 10 Cirque du Soleil shows.
Really?
Yes.
Because
We loved it.
I think they go to the AAC quite a bit, didn't they?
They go to the AAC, and
Yeah.
then when they're at the AAC, it might be a week or so, maybe a few shows or whatever. But then, they have their own tents that they'll bring their show to the Dallas Fort Worth area as well. And their tent will be like downtown Dallas area. It's not at the AAC, it's their own tent that they put up. And they'll be there for like 3 weeks or something like that. We went to several of those, and I want to say we went to a Cirque du Soleil in another city as well, not just Dallas Fort Worth. Went to several in Frisco because we had a blast at Cirque du Soleil. It was absolutely great. We even went to one, all of us, our whole family, me, my two daughters, him, um, because he was all about, he really liked live shows. He really liked live shows. Yeah. And if you haven't been to
So,
Cirque du Soleil, go. It's a blast.
Okay. So when he was getting sick, when getting back to Eugene, when was he showing signs of being sick? Was he showing
Um,
signs of heart issues? Because I can remember, I remember my dad had heart congestion, like major heart congestion, and I remember him coming off the airplane one time, and like the wall was holding him up, and
oh wow.
I thought he just put on an act first because he was kind of like I am, how we over dramatic everything, make just get everybody to laugh or whatever, because that's just what he would do. But it dawned on me that as when he passed, that man, that was kind of a sign that he was just beat to high holy hell, and his heart was just not pumping enough oxygen to his brain to keep him going. Did EG not have any signs of that at all, or just like all
He
of a
had
sudden a
none.
heart attack? Really?
Now, here's the thing. About 2 years or so before he had the heart attack, he had complained about like when we would do like say stuff around the house, yard work, or even something as simple as walking from the door to say the car, he would be tired just from that little bit of something, right? So that prompted, I was like, okay, then we need to go to the cardiologist. And he did. He went to the cardiologist. They did all tests and everything was fine.
Hmm.
And
Just out of the blue,
a
huh?
year, a year, maybe, it wasn't 2 years later, is when he had the heart attack.
All right.
So were there signs? I don't know if that would have been considered signs, but given we went to the doctor, right, to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, is everything good? And they were like, yep, everything's good. And that was that. So yeah, you never
I,
know. That goes to show you never know.
I remember around this time, you guys, yeah, I mean, he had a house out in Paloma Creek, I believe, and then he had just moved. Y'all just moved to Denton, and
Yep.
I remember you were trying to sell your house out in yeah, you're out in mid cities at the time when y'all first met, right?
Yeah, in Arlington, we actually ended up keeping that.
Yeah, you kept the house. Okay, are
Yeah.
y'all currently there? Are you currently there? Or are you in Denton now?
Mm-mm. Actually, after he passed away, because we had moved to the house that was near Denton
Uh-huh.
in December, and
Right.
he passed away
In April.
in April. Yeah. So after he passed, it wasn't. It was very hard to stay in that house. Very,
Yeah,
very hard.
wasn't
And
it wasn't your house anymore with y'all not being together there. So yeah, I get that.
I did stay about a year, and then we moved to where we are now.
And are you back in Arlington?
No, actually, we're in Decatur now. Oddly
Oh,
enough,
really?
yeah, we're in Decatur now.
How your daughter's doing?
They're doing great. Um, my my youngest daughter, and I remember because when we went to your housewarming, they were both. To show you how long ago it was, they were either 8 or 9. I don't even think both of them were 10. And now she's 24. So they tell you how long ago that was. Um, they she's now finished college and got a job, adulting. And my oldest, the
Life.
same thing. Yes, he's living real adult life now. And my oldest, the exact same thing. She's finished college, she's working, she's a librarian actually. um but yeah, she's doing well. Both of them are doing very, very well. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And it's been tough, it's been tough for all of us,
Right.
since he passed away, because it's a different life. It's a different life. Yeah.
It
So when
is.
these anniversaries come around, it's a heavy feeling. It's a very
Well,
heavy feeling.
and that's why I figured for for the fifth one. Obviously, I've launched my own YouTube channel, and I'm trying to make it not just wrestling related because there's much more to life than that life I was living at the time. I've just retired from wrestling, and I'm it's, it's kind of like a Eugene moment in a way. My last show I did, I was doing commentary, and the guy next to me, he's like saying, "Hey, this is Sword Championship Wrestling. I'm here. I'm just Shanks. I'm here with the Podfather. Podfather, how do you feel about tonight?" I'm like, okay. I was like, I wasn't into it. I just wasn't into it, and I'm like, you know what? They don't deserve that. They need that. I need to get out while I still can, and
Yes,
I
with you,
left where
because
they're at.
life is short. Life is short, and if
And
you're doing something that's a chore, don't do it. Find a better way.
and a big part of what I'm doing now, like when I interview people like you, there's people. Everybody has an interesting life, one way or the other, right? And so they want to share it or not. And you and I, we share Eugene. He was my brother, and he's your husband. And it was kind of like, and by proxy, you're my sister. So just I want gifts, okay? I don't care. No, I just kidding. Nah, but no, I try to bring on people on here that have a story to tell and have are not just being on TV to be on TV, right? I mean, they actually have something that people can learn from. When I had a guy in here that worked with my dad for so many years in the music business, and then he left the music business to go sell to the Orphan Yorkin man, and then
Really?
and yeah, and he's retired, but he's not retired because he's now making more money doing what he's doing in sales than he ever did as working with Kenny Rogers. So, I mean, clearly, I mean, there's more to life than just your
Absolutely.
little niche, and that's what my channel is all about. Is my niche. My niche is my life, right? So whether it's wrestling, movie watching, talking to people that have inspired me or influenced me or had something to do with my life, that's all part of it. And obviously, getting to know you through him. And I remember the first time I think we all hung out together. We went to Saltgrass or whatever, right? And me being me, because I had my dad's personality, I'm sitting there. You were laughing your head off the entire time. Yeah, why? I think it's just courtesy laughter because I think Melissa's like she's just laughing just to make you feel good. Don't worry about it. You ain't that
Okay.
funny. You ain't that funny. Okay, fair. But I remember we had that, and now I think Bo was with us as well. So you got to see the inner circle that I had at the time, I
Mhm.
believe, and you guys have always been very special to me. And like I said, I want to do something special for his 5th anniversary of his passing because as I turned 51 on Monday, which by the way, this show
Oh
airs on
wow.
Monday. I know, right? And I always look at people who pass and go, okay, well, he died at 59. My dad died
Mhm.
at 57. Elvis died at 42. Belushi died at
Oh,
33.
it's
Jesus died.
okay.
Jesus died at 30. I'm like, who am I trying to beat now? Who am I trying to get up to? Right. So, I mean, again, it's the time I got to spend with him from 1998, I believe, until
Wow.
2021. I got to spend a lot of great moments with that man, and I'm glad that he found someone like you to finish it out with because clearly we don't know the
We
end game,
don't know. We don't
and
know.
I'm also glad, and it's almost kind of like you led him to the light, so when his time came, he headed that way. That's kind of how I look at that entire thing.
Wow. I definitely want to um he was a great guy. And there's no other way to describe it. He was the wow, just the he's the love of my life. He was a wonderful man. He was funny. We had a great life together. We had a great time together, and we had a great family together. And coming up on 5 years is heavy. This one's heavy. It's a little heavier than some of the other ones have been, but um, I was happy. We all were happy in his company because he was a good guy. And that's the one thing that I definitely want to leave out with is to let it be known that he was a really, really good man. None of us are perfect. He wasn't perfect. I wasn't perfect. We didn't have a perfect marriage, but the one thing we had was each other. We loved each other. We loved our family. And he's definitely, definitely missed and will never be forgotten. That is for sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave the show on this one note. For a long time, uh, during Thanksgivings and Christmas dinners, my mom always left one empty spot available for him because
Wow. Trey, really?
yeah,
Wow.
because he was by himself, and I was like, "You want me to call you Eugene?" So he goes, "Yeah, come on by," because he was family. My dad never really got to know him very well. He just says, "Who's this really black? Who's this really big black guy in my house?" That's kind of the thought he probably had. But he realized my mom. his wife really appreciated Eugene being there. Really thought of him as family. And I remember when my mom had gotten sick and she couldn't really take care of herself, and we had her in a group home or whatever, or an assisted living place, whatever the time. And my in-laws had moved down here, and they were doing Christmas dinners and Thanksgiving dinners. And my mom asked my mother-in-law, she's like, "Do you have an extra seat for Eugene?" And they didn't know who Eugene was. And I'm like, and so my mother-in-law, who I still call her my mother-in-law, though I don't live with her daughter anymore. I mean, she's been a blessing to me. But she's like, "Who's Eugene?" I'm like, he's like my brother. They didn't realize a big African American gentleman would come walk in the house and go, "Hey, there he is." But he was, I mean, I mean, he may have made people kind of unaware that what someone considers family may not be family to them, but
Absolutely.
he was family to
Absolutely.
me, and he will always be my brother. And because I never had a brother, so it was always a blessing to have him be a part of my Thanksgivings and Christmases when I got a chance to have him there. And of course, I also remember at the time it was Christmas. It was Christmas Day. We had our dinner. My dad's sitting in the recliner. He's passed out like he always is because he turns the TV on, lays back, and next you know,
Yeah, that's the
that was
TV's watching him. Yeah.
yeah, right. So me and Junior would start sitting there watching NBA games because NBA does their Christmas thing every
Yeah.
year. And Eugene's looking at me going, "Does your dad not like me being here?" I'm like, no, he don't like basketball. So he turns it on and he just says it's time for him to go to sleep. So that's what he did. So well, anyway, look, I want to thank you for joining me here today, and for those who are watching, if you like what you're seeing here, please like and subscribe to the Trey McLean channel on YouTube, and hopefully, have more guests like this. And obviously, this is a good thing I'm going to have on the site for as long as I'm going with YouTube. So, we all have a chance to reminisce with Eugene and have these moments. So, this won't be as
Absolutely.
bad as it were. But hey, we can do this every year too. We have to. It doesn't matter to me because I talk about them all the time. And plus, how often I get to see you? I mean, you my big sis. How often I get to see you? So
We need not take so long to get together. So
that is
yes,
true.
yes, absolutely. And thank
That
you
is
for doing this. I appreciate this. It's been
no.
wonderful reminiscing about him coming up on the 5 years and thinking about all the happy times we had together. And I concentrate more on those than the time when we had to say goodbye. So thank you for having this. I really appreciate it, Trey. Sincerely.
Not a problem. And thanks everybody for watching. And thank you all so much. And we'll see you next time.
Oh, oh.